Rick Rubin, Rick doesn't fight himself. Let me tell you what I mean by this. When I mix a song that I've recorded, engineered, maybe also played certain instruments on, for example, I'm working on a song where I played drums on it way back in like 2009. I sucked at the drums. And every step of the mix, I'm literally fighting my taste. I'm fighting myself every step because I know what I want to do. And I also simultaneously, because I'm human, I weigh what it would take to redo something. I weigh the cost of, got to hire a drummer to come in and play this again or do it myself and then run back and forth between the control room and where I'm recording or set up some kind of rig next to the drum set, which is time, effort, set up all the mics to do the drums again, make sure the drums are edited right when I'm done. Then whenever all this is done, I can then get back to the work to get this song done that I've been trying to get out. So our human nature ruins the thing that Rick never compromises on, which is his taste. There's a reason Rick looks the way he does, and there's a reason he's as comfortable with himself as he is. The guy, you've seen the Rick Beato interview with him. I don't think a guy gets more comfortable with himself than Rick is in this world. I don't think it's possible. The reason I say that is because he is able and has been able for a very long time to be an extremely successful individual based solely on his taste. That's the thing. He has skills to explain himself and be tactful when discussing what his taste is so that people don't balk at what he's saying, so that they don't get ruffled up by anything he's saying, so that artists continue to want to work with him, so that he doesn't alienate everybody. He's able to explain himself. Also, he knows enough to explain himself to engineers, people who are actually the ones that are going to perhaps set up the mics or mix the song. He knows enough to be able to communicate his taste, but he doesn't do those things. He's coming from a different place than a lot of us are who work on our own music. And that's the biggest difference. Where he's coming from is a place of, I know how I'm feeling. I know what I want to convey because I think this needs to change. And I'm not going to let anything stop me, like time or money or the physical work it would take to do something again and then edit it again. And that's actually easy, or I should say easier to do in his position because he's not doing all those jobs. Because he's looking at it from a point of view of, it's my job to deliver my taste, uncompromisingly so. I have to deliver my taste. So at the end of this, I love it, which means I can't compromise anything along the way, which is the opposite of someone like me sitting here mixing a song I recorded way back in 2009 and going, these drums suck. I need new drums. Then I beat the drums up with edits, with trying to make the drum arrangement better than it was, with trying to then mix the drums differently than they're recorded, try to get as much out of it as I can, like I'm squeezing a lemon. Just get as much as I can out of these drums in the hopes that maybe I'll like them when I'm done. So I kill all that time. And whether it's 1 day, 2 days, or a week, or you could be working on your song for 2 weeks or a month or whatever, you know the entire time what you don't like and what's ruffling you, what's ruffling your feathers up. You know exactly what it is. Yet, because of all those things connected to redoing it, you have to go down this path of, let me just try this. Let me just try this. Let's try this. And at the end, you're never going to be happy because you compromised along the way. So what that means, if you're driving a ship, you're sailing a ship. I'm picturing old school. For some reason, I picture Greco-Roman times sailing. I don't know always why I do that, but that's what I picture, right? And in my head, that ship never gets to where it could have gone if you don't compromise your decisions at all along the way. If you just never compromised, your ship would get to a certain place. Every time you compromise, the ship takes a slightly different turn. And what winds up happening a lot of times is you'll always navigate yourself into these rocky, shark-infested, spiky coral, whatever, all over the place. You're always going to get into these waters that you can't get out of. And as a result, no matter what, you'll either just pause it at some point and not be happy, or you'll force it to finish. So you force crash land somewhere and you're not happy. And this wreaks havoc on your next song. In your head, you didn't have an uncompromising, your personal opinion was compromised several times. So you honestly, if you took a tally of how'd that go, it didn't go as well as it could have gone, right? If you didn't compromise. So then when you make the next song, you're coming from a place of now I'm actually further away from being someone like a Rick Rubin, who's an uncompromising individual with their taste and their belief of what this should sound like. So the way I look at this is the only way Rick can actually be happy with his work when he's done is if he knows he didn't compromise his taste. That's the only way. He's got to trust his gut the whole way. This thing's not good enough. Do it again. This, I hear what we're trying to do, but that doesn't sound like you guys. It's got to be done different. And sometimes I feel like he doesn't even tell you exactly how it's got to be different. It's got to be different. This isn't it. This is not the vibe I get when I hear your band playing. That's the kind of thing he may do sometimes. And then it's up to the engineer to figure out exactly what that is. And maybe he's so good at articulating exactly what it is that he doesn't like or wants changed, or is creative enough to come up with ideas for changing whatever, that people always have a lane to go to drive down once he's done with his opinion, which could be a reason he's so successful also. So there's so many parts to what I'm saying that all come down to he's happy at the end when he likes it. He likes it when his taste is not in any way, shape, or form settling, when he's not settling for what's there because he doesn't want to do something again, or he doesn't want to tell the band to do it again. He's so comfortable with himself and his taste, he could say it, he makes it happen. This has got to be this way. There's no delay in decision making. He makes decisions. And I think so many of us with our own work, it's like, I'm not a fan of saying anybody should aspire to be somebody else. You aspire to be you, because your taste is unique and you are special. And if you would only just trust your taste for 100% of the process of what you're doing, no matter how much more work it might be to do something else, because trust your taste doesn't mean get it right the first time. You could mess up while you're doing it multiple times. The goal should be uncompromising. If you could only do that, you would really be expressing who you are, not who you are watered down through some filter off in the rocks somewhere crashing the ship. It would be exactly what you wanted, uncompromisingly so, and then you at the very least have a product that is who you are, your taste. That's your version, and you starting down the path of being someone who at least trusts themselves as much as Rick does, trust himself, at least someone who actually believes in themselves as much as Rick believes in his own taste. That just propels you forward to be bold, to make decisions, to be someone who every time they work on anything, their only focus is how great can I make this? In my opinion, the best producers in the world are the ones that truly do that every time. They don't say, this one's got to make it for me so I can become successful. They don't say, I can't wait to be successful one day. They are happy for an opportunity and they do their absolute best in order to make that opportunity something that works, translates for them so that they love it at the end, so that the band probably loves it at the end. And if they love it at the end, they know they did their job. They don't compromise. They work their butt off with every opportunity they're given to make it as great as they can possibly make it, based on their own taste, not what other people are going to like. Rick said it 100 times. He doesn't care what other people are going to like. Most amazing work divides the audience. People hate it. People like it. So the goal is never to make it what everybody's going to like. You have no idea what the hell that's going to be anyway. You have to make it what you're going to like. And there's no, like, when I think about why Rick looks the way he does, the guy, I mean, look at him. He looks like a free bird.
Got a free bird for you right here.
Literally. Looks like a free bird. It's what he looks like. He's just flying around. He's able to be so free because all he is confident and just relies on his taste 100%. Do you know what kind of confidence that must give you to walk this earth feeling like my taste is all I need to survive and be successful in this world? Well, I think every musician who's doing their own work, that is a great mindset to strive to achieve. Just the confidence in your own decision making. And I think you only get there if you actually do things without compromising what you're doing completely, 100%. And where your time goes, immediately, as soon as you think of this could be better, should go right to redoing the thing. That's what Rick would do. He wouldn't try to make it as great as possible before he then says, we got to do this again. It's just, this ain't working. Let's record it again. You know that's what he would do. Because that is the only way that he knows when he goes to sleep at night, I did the best thing I could do. And I was completely honest with myself, which is what got him where he is. And also what got a lot of the work he worked on to be as successful as it was. Because his taste is undoubted. I mean, it's amazing. You can't doubt that. A lot of the music he has produced, I love. His taste is a big part of that. And, you know, what he knows, like if you were to quantify his taste into knowing, like what does he know? He knows the unknowable. That's what he knows. And I'm not saying everyone's going to be able to be a Rick Rubin if you only follow what I'm saying. What I'm basically saying is you don't know how good you could be. You could surpass that. You could literally be somebody whose taste is extremely valuable for all artists, not just you. But how would you ever know the second you start compromising? And so many of us who do this for years and years and years and years always compromise something because human nature is lazy. Because not only is it lazy, it's going to be harder. It's going to cost more money. It's going to take more time. All these things are bad reasons to ignore your taste, which is the thing you need to trust to get somewhere, wherever that is. And where I think it is, before people say, well, getting somewhere is not what you should think about. Getting somewhere is when you're done, you're happy because you know you didn't compromise. So now you're happy with the work. That is getting somewhere. Evan Jaffe, Custom Cut Studios. You guys got this. Take it easy.